Hi everyone, it's Paul from This Design That. Today I'm going to be going over some of the books and resources that I've bought during 2020. And really I'm just doing this to share with you some things that you might want to think about buying if you're into art books, design books, and things that might help to give you a little bit of inspiration. Now before we go anywhere, most of these haven't actually been released in 2020. These are all older books. The reason that I am showing older books is because you can get them for quite cheap on eBay, some of them. In general, art books and design books, they are just really expensive and they hold their value quite well. So the reason why I'm not really showcasing many books from 2020 is because I don't really like to buy them brand new because they're just too expensive. I mean, this alone would have, cost hundreds to purchase it brand new. So we're going to start at the top of the pile and we'll work our way down. Now, some of these are just resources, and I don't expect every single kind of designer or maker out there to kind of need these things, but I really do like collecting these. First one is the GF Smith Paperbook. This is their second version. As you can see, it is a big hefty book, and basically it just contains all of their papers that they stock. Whenever I'm doing some sort of project with printing or anything like that, I always just like to open this up and just flick through all of the paper options. I mean, their colour plan, as you can see, they've got a lot of colours that you can choose from here. All different weights, different embossing. Yeah, I mean, you've even got like some neon ones there, which would be really interesting for screen printing. GF Smith are just amazing for paper suppliers in the UK, that is. I don't think you can buy this book, you do have to request it. I requested it as soon as they sent me an email saying they're making these. So I was lucky to get it pretty early. You can get them on eBay. People do actually sell them and they do actually go for quite a lot of money. Yeah, if you're in the UK, you're looking for paper samples, highly recommend this book. Now the next one is No Magic and in Riso. And this was actually a new purchase for me. And this is one of the very rare times that I bought a book brand new as soon as I saw it. And I mean, it even comes from Taipei. It comes from the other side of the world. It cost me a lot to ship it over, but honestly, I fell in love with this book as soon as I saw it. It's a bilingual risograph toolbook, and I love the idea behind this. I wish more people would do books like this. This is so cool. What they did is they've actually just printed all of these various different kind of images on the risograph machine and all of the different color combinations that you can get with it. And they just talk about, the process of risograph, and as you can see, you've got a lot of cool swatches, color combinations of what you can do. It's just beautiful. Also, they give you these little color charts of, kind of like how the colors blend when you're using them together. And this is all printed on a risograph machine. They say it took them months to produce it. It's so much in terms of actual printing time on a risograph machine, but that is No Magic in Riso, and it's just O.00 Studio. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but that's the studio that made it. Now the next one that I bought in 2020, this is by the same studio that did No Magic and Riso, and I think this is kind of like their first version because a lot of the printed stuff in this is actually contained in the No Magic and Riso. And again, it's just a risograph kind of like workbook, and it just gives you like the different colors, the different papers you can print on, what the colors look like on different papers. I really do love these kind of like swatch books because like when I'm doing screen printing, for instance, it's a really long process to get a screen made, get the ink on it, get the paper, print it, just to see what the colour's going to look like, how the transparency is going to work on certain papers. And I love the fact that I know this isn't screen printing, it kind of is, but yeah, you get a really good idea of how the colours work on different papers. And then again, they've just got all of these kind of like swatches of how the gradients work, how the colours work. And then you also get this little imperfections booklet, which just talks about the process of the risograph machine, kind of its peculiarities and how you can use them in your design. Up next is a book by a designer that I'm sure you've all heard of, Armin Hoffman. If you've ever been to design school or anything, you'll probably learn about this dude. This is just one of his books that he did, and I got it for really cheap. You can see it's quite battered up. I think I paid about £7 for this. It just kind of shows experiments with grids, I mean, I just like flicking through this kind of stuff just to get a nice kind of like abstract inspiration. But yeah, it's really nice. Really nicely presented. You just flick through it. This is really old, so you can get these for cheap, which is good. Next is Deluxe. I talked about this in a last video. If you're doing foil stamping, embossing, any sort of print finishing work, this book is really nice. It just gives lots of examples on how you can use foil stamping, how you can use embossing, debossing. You know, whenever I'm thinking about how to incorporate into my designs, it's nice just to flick through this book and see what people have done with this type of thing. Probably only relevant if you've got a foil stamp capabilities, but it's nice to look at nonetheless. Next is another resource book that I got because I do actually buy some foil from this company, and I wanted a little swatch book of all of the foils that they have, and they sent me this, which is amazing, and it's really nicely designed. And basically, yeah, it's just got every single foil. Look how many foils there are here these are all foils that you can use, and it's just beautiful. Yeah, this is actual real foil that's just stamped. They're little swatches, so you can actually just break them off. I don't know why you would, but probably only relevant to people that are doing foil stamping, that have got a foil stamp press. I wouldn't just be sending them an email saying give me one of these if you've got no intention of really buying from them, because it does take a lot of effort and resources to make this. And you can see actually that I'm using one of their foils here in our upcoming cassette release. This is some really nice kind of like bronze foil that I got from looking at this swatch. Next is a book that I've been waiting to get my hands on ever since I discovered it when I was in Singapore. So there is a bookshop in Singapore that is kind of just like specializing in art and design books. I really like just abstract, geometric, kind of like minimal designs. And this book is essentially a catalogue of lots of abstract textures and patterns that you can create. It's called Bell Mojo, and I think they've done another book which is kind of similar, and it was for architects. Basically, it's just looking at how you can create very abstract shapes. So you've just got lots of plates here on how you can create typography with various different shapes. And then it's about trying to work with those textures. You can see that they've created lots of various different bits of abstract artwork, very kind of like glitchy. Here's some more examples. And I mean, yes. And then they've got this entire catalogue of textures that you can use. It actually comes with a CD here. So here is a CD, and it comes with all of these textures. And you can just see that it's just loads of random abstract kind of like patterns and textures. And I absolutely love it. Just flicking through it is so cool. When I saw this in the shop, I knew I had to have it in my collection straight away. It is expensive. I've had an alert on eBay for literally since I come back from Singapore, which is a few years ago. And they're always, 20, 30, 40 pounds for this book. This one flagged up and it was like 17 pounds. It is a bit faded on the spine here, but I don't really care about that. The inside is absolutely perfect. So I got a really good bargain here. Yeah, I'd highly recommend this one. This is probably one of my favorites from 2020. Now these next ones, they actually come in yesterday. I got this on eBay. Some guy in London was selling all of his printmaking stuff, and it come with 3 books. Here's the first one. This is a Print Liberation. I don't really need this one. I might sell it. It's really just kind of telling you how to screen print and troubleshooting the process behind it. Honestly, I kind of already know all of this, so it's a really good book if you're looking to learn how to screen print. Again, I would probably just rather go onto YouTube though if I was looking to learn how to screen print. So I'm not too sure of the use of this book, but the other 2 that come with that one is really nice. So this is Pulled. This is a catalogue of screen printing. Now what I really like about this, and it's often really difficult to find stuff online that is related to poster printing. If you look on YouTube, all of the screen printing YouTube channels, they're all specialising in t-shirt printing because that's what screen printing is mostly used for. It's not mostly used for poster printing. And honestly, it's really hard to find stuff around screen printing that is to do with actually making art, or serigraph is what it's called. And this book is just a really nice catalogue of lots of different posters and artwork that is screen printed. And again, it's just a really good way of seeing how you can use screen printing to create something. It's really nice inspiration to see that these things have been, done on screen print. Minimal layering of textures. So this is a really nice book. I love this one. It's very rare to find something that is aimed at serigraph. Next one is printmaking. This is just a contemporary look on it. It just talks about the history of printmaking and just gives some really nice contemporary examples here of screen prints, wood carts, lino carts, intaglio, anything. It's beautiful. And these books are so expensive, brand new. This is, if you was going to buy it brand new, £25. I mean, it's not even that much, but this is the problem with art books and design books. And I would love to have an entire shelf full of these books, but they are so expensive. Last but not least is some magazines. Now, if you are into printmaking, then I would highly recommend getting a subscription to Pressing Matters. This is a really nice printmaking magazine. It's £10 a copy, or you can get a cheaper deal by doing like an annual subscription or whatever. It's just a magazine based on printmaking, which is really nice to see. I do feel that printmaking is kind of making a resurgence in recent years. It seems to be more popular, more people are getting into it. I've noticed that more companies are stocking printmaking supplies, printmaking presses and things like that are also starting to be made new. Yeah, this is a magazine that if you are into printmaking, you'll really like. It features various different artists from various different practices, and great for inspiration, great for maybe learning a thing or two. Some of them do talk about like the techniques that they use, kind of like their inspirations, where they find it. Yeah, it's a nice read. It's nice to flick through. Honestly, I don't really like to read that much. I mostly flick through these for the images, and they are always really nice. Now, I've got one little bonus book to show you. This is from Based Upon. They are a kind of like a design studio based in London, and they make really cool installation pieces, all sorts of stuff. And they put together what feels like just like a workbook. It really reminds me of the process books that we used to make in university when we had to document our projects. And I think this is the same thing, because it says this is the evidence. So I think this is kind of like the evidence that went into one of their big projects that they made. But just like the whole presentation, I mean, it come in this like silver packaging here. Based Upon has just been like stamped in the bottom there very nicely, and then the book is kind of like wrapped in this really cool poster, and got kind of like, I'm not sure, it's like a blueprint. It really reminds me of one of my projects that I did in uni. I put together like a blueprint showing like how I made it, an actual blueprint. And the book itself, I love kind of like the exposed binding here, and it's just got loads of nice pictures showing, I'm guessing, their experiments, where they went, what kind of inspired them to make the final piece. We've got some film strips there. Yeah, it's just very nice to look at. I really like experimental books like this. So that was really nice to get hold of. It was nice to kind of feel like other people make kind of like project books for documenting their projects. So that is it. I will be putting a list of all of the books and magazines that I got, as well as links as where to buy them. I would be looking mostly on eBay or Amazon warehouse deals for some of these books. Some of them you can put an alert on eBay. They do crop up for cheap if you're willing to sacrifice maybe the condition of the book. I'm hoping to continue to build my collection of art and design books. Please recommend any books that you have got or that you're thinking of buying that are to do with these type of topics. Anything to do with graphic design, typography, anything kind of like abstract, anything minimal, I really like. So yeah, feel free to put any recommendations in the comments below. Anyway, that is it for today. Hope you enjoyed that. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all later.